Coming up today on This Is True Really News.
What? There's more of us?
Few skulls. Very few skulls.
That's good.
But we've got something from Sport Bible via Patrick Reed, which is pretty interesting. You're going to
who? What?
Sport Bible website.
There is.
Yeah, you're going to like it. You're going to like this particular story.
I have my doubts, but we'll see.
If you like stories, please save and render. No,
Don't say render. I lived at a place where, when the wind was right, we could smell a rendering plant, and it was just not pretty.
Let's see. Like and subscribe to This Is True Really News, and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified every time we put up some new crap. Now, if you would like to comment in any way, shape, or form, you can do it right where you found us, or you can send missives too, including stories you might want us to cover, to TITR@netradio.network. God, you're rubbing off on me.
Ew.
I wish you'd stop. My clothes are wearing out.
Ew.
This is True Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true,
Really?
as far as you know.
I saw a really weird cartoon. You know how leather patches on guys? A girl had leather patches on her elbows and elsewhere. Resident.
You're a dope.
A resident in Trail, British Columbia?
Maybe.
Google.
Trail.
Hop on your Google machine.
Can I use the wood burning one? The electric one's kind of down.
Yeah. Besides, in the fall, the wood burning one has that cool woodsy smell to it.
Trail City in British Columbia, Canada.
Huh.
Funny, there's a lake there.
Lake Trail?
Trail Lake.
I suppose.
What are
you doing? I'm trailing the lake. Why? It says two.
It's a city in West Kootenay, region of the interior of British Columbia. It was named after Dewdney Trail.
Huh?
Dewdney Trail. Dewdney. Dewdney Trail, which passed through the area. Town was first called Trail Creek or Trail Creek Landing. Then this name was shortened to Trail in 1897.
I just went with Creek.
So, yeah, right.
Creek Landing would be better than Trail.
Summer climate in Trail is generally hot and dry with moderately cool nights. Temperatures often exceed 35 degrees Celsius. That's 95 degrees Fahrenheit during summer afternoons.
So it's like Minnesota.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you want to know any more?
I know too much already.
Monashee Mountains are the first.
I won't get this out of my head for 10, 20. Oh, it's gone. We're okay. No, we're good.
All right, fine.
Trail, British Columbia. Remember those police blotters you find every now and again?
Oh, yeah. I love those.
See if this feels like fun. A resident of Trail in British Columbia. He probably moved from, where was the blotter from?
Flathead Beacon.
Yeah, he probably moved from Flathead.
Yeah, likely. Yeah. Or at least one of the surrounding towns.
He went from Flathead to Trail. I bet he has a globe and darts. A resident of Trail, British Columbia, called police in September to complain of a man wearing camouflage pants, which he was sure was a violation of some rule or other, according to the Toronto Sun, because it's early in the hockey season. They have nothing else to report. What?
I can't imagine saying anything but go back to watching the hockey game and shut up.
Yeah, see? Pretty soon you'll have both genders playing and you'll be good.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
The 27-year-old caller said he was, quote, offended on behalf of the military and requested that an officer find the man and remove those pants.
And could you get a few pictures for me while you're
ahead? Let all the jokes run through your head. When the officer said that he could not do that, thank you, the caller said he would remove the man's pants himself under order of the King of England.
That guy hasn't been out in months.
Just, maybe they're sending Camilla.
Oh, boy, that'll get him moving.
He's probably been good at that. When the officer said he... No lightning. We're okay.
When the officer, she's not queen, so you're good.
That's true. She's the consort. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. The local Royal Canadian Mounted Police did look for the camouflage pants wearer, presumably to warn him about the color. But here's a shock. They couldn't find him. Of course not. You camouflage pants, you idiot.
Yeah. As long as
I heard a rustle, but I couldn't see anything.
There was nothing there.
There's half a guy over there, but I didn't want that.
Yeah. I just heard a lady online say she didn't like it when men wear camo clothing.
Why?
Because the purpose of camouflage is to not be seen.
Okay.
The logic
I hate
is
it when the Invisible Man is around because same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We need a good Invisible Man movie, by the way.
We need a new one.
It's been a while.
Good. It has. Yeah. It has.
David McCullum did really. That TV show was better than folks gave it credit for.
I've forgotten about that. I'm going to have to look that up again because I really liked that show.
I like David McCullum.
Yes.
Trying to figure out why they hired a Brit to play a Russian.
Because he was in the band from U.N.C.L.E.
Police agency.
Yeah, well, you know.
And then he became British again to be Ducky.
Which I loved. From Sport Bible via Patrick Reed. All right. You sitting down? Does that mean yes?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Usually when sports fans place a bet, it's nothing more than a bit of fun, that adds to their chosen event.
You're new here, aren't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But sometimes experienced bettors...
Honey, where's the rent? I've got a sure thing. The Vikings will beat Detroit.
Experienced bettors... Yeah. Actually,
honest, the Lynx are going to win the title. They actually should have, but that's a whole other story.
But both were fun games. They were entertaining games.
Actually, I'd like to thank the WNBA for having the most watched final series ever and trotting out Game 5. They played 5 games in 7 days. So you had 2 really exhausted teams and officials that should have had their seeing eye dogs with.
Go get some glasses for the home plate umpire. Now,
anyway, sorry, where were you?
Experienced bettors sometimes place a bet as they have a tip or have somehow worked out how or why a certain action could happen during a match, right?
Okay.
So you can bet on an event happening within the match.
Yes.
Others place
I bet the pitcher's going to have a stroke.
That sort of stuff. Yeah, and there's a line for those. Others place bets for all kinds.
I blame it on baseball, by the way.
Do you?
Remember, because baseball was the first to start. They have stats for how a right-handed pitcher does against left-handed batters in the sun in Florida.
When he's had a bath on Wednesday.
In July, when it might rain the next day.
Right. They've got.
And the worst part is now all the other freaking sports are doing the same stuff.
You know,
the last time you had this 9-iron shot, Hal. And as we look at it, it's very similar. It's a day, and there's a golf ball, and it's about a 9-iron length.
I was watching a cricket thing, and I wish I had bet on that bowler hitting the batter in the junk 3 times in a row.
Did he?
Oh, when you watch it, it is absolutely horrifying. And the first one's, second one's, not again.
And he died after the third one. Yeah.
It's fantastic. You know, to have a bet on that would be good. Anyway, there's about a lot of people who bet on stuff like that. But sometimes it's by names of teams and color of their kit. But very rarely is luck on one side. And that's exactly what's happened to one lucky punter. All right, get out all your fingers and toes. 4 results.
All 17 of them?
Yeah. Yes. Right. If we got a lot of carrots in the bunch.
Well, how's your math? Fingers and toes would add up to 58. What are you thinking?
For 4 results were included in the bet in question. First, golfer Scotty Scheffler did the business by winning the 2024 edition of the Masters at Augusta.
He did.
The punter had backed the Florida Panthers to win the 23-24 NHL championship, which concluded June 24th. Yep. With those
Wild just clocked him though, 5-1.
With those 2 results in the bag, he still had 2 to go.
Okay.
In July of 2024, Spanish tennis star Carlos Alcaraz secured the Wimbledon crown with an emphatic victory over Novak Djokovic.
Wouldn't it be Alcaraz?
You're probably right.
I like the Z sound better, so go with it.
Okay, it works fine.
So we're 3 for 3.
Yeah.
And
he was 1 result away from pocketing a tidy $742,500.
he actually picked the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup?
He did.
Wow.
With the cash out value currently sitting at if he cashes out now, he picks up $329,432.17.
What was his bet? Do you remember?
Well, that these 4 things would happen.
Yeah, I know, but what?
I don't know what he put on.
Okay.
I don't know what he put
because all of these sound. Scheffler sounds like he should. That's like an even money bet at best.
Yeah, but
the other 2 are interesting.
Well, wait for the 4th one. It's not over yet.
Okay.
He backed the New York Yankees to win the World Series.
Oh, see.
And we may not know for sure at the time of this airing.
Well, we don't.
Yeah. Well, at the time of this recording. So
yeah. But we will.
At some point.
In the future.
Dum, dum, dum.
Maybe you'll come back and tell us.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yankees, Dodgers, World Series. That sounds
made up.
I don't care.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
They've spent more than the nation makes in a year on their baseball teams. So knock yourselves out, boys.
Go nutty.
After the really? That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That Panther one still amazes me because they had to win their last game of the season just to get to the playoffs.
Just to have those 3 fall in order.
Yep. After the long-awaited capture of escaped fugitive Danilo Cavelcante, known as Danny C to his friends.
Or the Cavelcante of crime.
Sure. Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel, George Bivens. He sounds kind of Lieutenant Colonel-y.
Yeah.
Held a press conference to share the details of the arrest, according to the HuffPost. Noted news
journalistic.
Well, I mean, in these days, the HuffPost, the Washington Times, is there a difference?
No.
Exactly. One attendant, a podcaster named Michael Rainey, gets the prize for the most bizarre question that was posed to Bivens. Was there any concern that he, Cavalcante, would team up with another small man to step inside of a trench coat Little Rascals style?
Oh. So his nickname really is Daniel the Runt Cavalcante.
Tiny D.
There we go.
That could be so bad in so many ways. Of course, the prevailing question after that is, what?
Yeah.
On X, Rainey said that he knew no one else would ask the question that needed to be asked, and he didn't either. No. Really, dude? Little Rascals? Who else did that?
Everybody. The Three Stooges have done it. They did it
Donald Duck's nephews.
Yeah, they've done it on the Flintstones. They've done it on virtually every cartoon. They did it on, that's right. What was that show? Scooby-Doo. The Scooby-Doo shows.
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
I got some work to do now.
So Rainey says he knew no one else would ask the questions that needed to be asked. Also, he said they were very polite when they asked me to leave.
Which is nice.
Bivens did answer with a curt no before the podcaster was encouraged to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasters, they're about as reliable as, well, the HuffPost, New York Times.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Some time ago, I think a couple of years ago, maybe longer, we did a story on Boston's North End molasses flood.
The Great Boston Molasses Flood.
Yeah. 1919.
Yep.
So
somebody invents root beer and Boston does what? They flood themselves with molasses.
So this is a Titter Wayback Machine update from my brother, Chris Combs, no relation. Quick background. At midday, January 15th, 1919, Boston's North End was full of workers and residents venturing outdoors to enjoy unseasonably warm weather. At about 1 p.m., they heard a low rumble and said, is it lunchtime already? At first, many assumed it was a Boston elevated train approaching.
Wait, you should never assume.
Because that
makes a donkey of you and me. Because you're not supposed to say ass, I'm guessing.
Right. You can just, yeah. At first, many assumed it was the elevated train, but within minutes, they realized something was very wrong. Sure. A 50-foot tall tank full of industrial-grade molasses had eruptured.
Industrial-grade molasses?
Oh, yeah. This is the stuff that you can use to nail together ships. Or something. Sending 2.3 million gallon wave.
Let's molasses and feather him.
and make sure you never get much south of the Arctic.
If you would.
2.3 million gallon wave of molasses rushing through the crowded North End. The hulking molasses tank had been built by Purity Distilling Company only a few years earlier in 1915. It measured
flood.
50 feet tall and rose over the Boston elevated railroad tracks that ran next to it. Tankers delivered shipments of molasses to Copp's Hill Wharf, where it was pumped into the tank and stored until it could be sent to distilleries on train cars, because they used to use it with distilled stuff. Though the tank had only been built a few years earlier, local residents knew it leaked. Get this, North End children, and this is stuff I didn't know, they collected pails of the sticky sweet molasses and took them home.
I would.
Yeah, right? When locals complained...
Like Halloween, only better.
When locals complained they could see the molasses seeping out of the tank's seams, what do you suppose Purity Distilling did?
No, it's not.
Painted the tank dark brown to disguise the using molasses. Structural engineers later reported the tank's walls were far too thin to hold the heavy molasses the tank stored. Furthermore, the chemical composition of the tank's walls made them vulnerable to cracking. On January 15th, 1919, a combination of the tanks, shoddy construction, a sudden temperature change, and a large new shipment of molasses resulted in a rupture of the tank's walls. Wave of molasses rushed through the North End at about 35 miles an hour.
That was the last place, by the way, that Peabody and Sherman ever went in the Wayback Machine.
Oh, that's it. We haven't seen him since. It knocked an elevated train off its tracks.
Golly, Mr. Peabody, that's a lot of molasses.
It crushed buildings, moved a firehouse and other buildings off their foundations, and worse.
And turned a boy and his dog into cartoons.
The crumpled pieces of the tank littering the debris field showed the force of the molasses wave. Cleaning it up and the debris along with the North End was difficult. Molasses coated the wreckage, making it almost impossible to move fragments of building and vehicles. City workers finally realized salt water broke down the molasses and began spraying the area with water pumped from the harbor. Now, locals had observed the structural issues with the molasses tank. The tank's owners initially blamed...
Wait a minute, hang on.
Yeah.
Salty and sweet.
That's nearly the basis for saltwater taffy.
Let's make it a candy.
The owners
It'll tear people's teeth out. The dentist will love it.
The owners initially blamed an anarchist plot to bomb the tank. But an initial and I suppose cursory inquiry and a later class action lawsuit revealed the structural instability of the tank.
No.
1925, 6 years later. 4 years later.
Either way, justice moves
1919.
slow.
6 years later. A court-appointed auditor ruled...
we'll wait. Go ahead. You figure it out.
58. A court-appointed auditor ruled the negligence by the tank's owners was to blame for the tank's collapse. So now you know
the rest of the story. Those were great, by the way. Paul Harvey.
I love it.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.